guys, this is Eric from the Fish Tales. It seems like you've just seen me, it's only been a few days, and that's because a lot has happened in the last few days. So Christy and I kind of went through and made a complete list of like our needs for our new RV, and I think this is a really good idea if any of you are shopping for an RV right now to make your own list. Everybody's got different needs, and there's things you want maybe that you don't have an RV at all right now, you've never had one. I would definitely encourage you to make a list like this so that you can make sure you're never going to probably find an RV that's going to literally check every single box, and definitely put them like in order of need as well, because as you get further down kind of the list, you may things might go by the wayside because of budgeting concerns or carrying capacity concerns or the like. So anyway, I'm just going to go through our list really quick, not specifically in a specific order. There's certain things that would be a total deal killer, and they're like down at 10. So don't, take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, this is our list that we put together without doing any reordering. Number one was a pantry. Christy really wants a pantry. We have no pantry on our current rig, so that was a real need. She wants a bigger kitchen. Our current kitchen is a toy hauler kitchen, so they're small. It's a thing. She wants to get lots of storage. That kind of goes without saying. We have a lot of storage now, but that's still a need. We want no carpet in any part of the rig, and our current rig does have some carpet in it because it was ordered by somebody else, and we got a really good deal, so we were willing to accept some carpet, but we will not do that again. We have a dog, and she's hairy. So lots of windows is a really big thing. Our current rig feels like a cave, and we don't want to live in a cave anymore. So light or white cabinets. Doesn't have to be white, but it does need to be light cabinets. And some sort of a larger desk space or space that could become my desk needs to be in the unit because I will be working remotely from it. Closet space, lots of closet space. Bathroom storage, places for towels, places for toilet paper and the like inside the bathroom, so we aren't having to run outside to some sort of outside storage for things that we use every day in the bathroom. This goes without saying, the rig needs to be tall enough for me. We went the other day and looked at, what was it? What was the one we looked at the other day, hon? Well, we did go to we looked at a Riverstone, and that one was mostly okay. There was one doorway that was a little bit low. Yeah, the Jayco, that's what it was, the Jayco Pinnacle. We went and looked at numerous Jayco Pinnacles, and those were stupidly low. So I'm 6'4", and I was hitting my head on like every doorway in the upper deck. So obviously on the lower section in the higher part of the RV, it was totally fine. But once you went up the stairs and you entered the bathroom, smack. You entered the shower, smack. You entered the bedroom, smack. And you entered the closet, smack. I mean, I was like, everywhere I went, my head was going to hit something. And, like when you're walking through, it's fine. But, the thing is, when you're living in a rig every day and you have to walk around ducked, that's a no-go. So other needs are, we needed a large pass-through because we have 2 inflatable kayaks, 2 paddle boards, and 2 electric scooters. So these things are things that go with us. I also have 2 bikes, but I don't usually take those everywhere I go. Mostly the bikes stay here in Boulder City. There's this really great loop trail that you can ride on. There's also mountain biking right up the hill. So I don't really need to take my bikes with me. I have taken my road bike with me on trips numerous times, and I would probably take it again. So pass-through storage or a place where I can put my bike that is not outside. I will not ever put my bike on like a bike rack on the back of my rig. It needs to be wide body. That's what we have now. That's what we're used to, and that's really what we want. But again, we're getting further down the list, right? Quality suspension and hitch and disc brakes. These are all things we have now, we would like, Quality suspension is basically a requirement. That should be higher up on the list. The hitch quality is somewhat irrelevant. We have a really nice hitch on our truck that is phenomenal. It's air ride, and we also have an air ride truck because we have a semi. So having a quality hitch is not as important to me, but a quality suspension is really important. Let's see. Disc brakes we have now, again, not as important to us because our truck could stop a trailer that has no brakes at all. But that is not the case for most people. Let's see. Quality wood cabinets is a must. Solid surface countertops is a must. One-piece fiberglass shower is ideal. We don't have that now, actually, and it's been totally fine. But they're better. They're easier to clean, and they're just better. So we would like to have one of those. And then quality heating and cooling. Things like mini splits or the like. So right now you're obviously looking at the Axiom Imperium i3800, and that's really what we're here to talk about today. I just kind of wanted to go over the kind of our list of needs so you kind of knew what we're looking at. So I'm going to quickly go through and just kind of like, this is the Matt's RV Reviews video that just came out the other day, and they're talking about, so that's, I think that's John. And we actually talked to him on the phone for like an hour and 15 minutes today, which was pretty incredible. It was really nice of him to take the time out of, I'm sure, his super slamming schedule and kind of, answer all the questions we have, give us some intel, and tell us a little bit more about their rigs. So let me just start with, remember we were talking about on the previous in the previous video, and if you haven't watched that previous video and you want to get some more of my thoughts about RVs, I'm going to put a link up in the, can't see the video, up in the description up there. So let's see. One of the questions that we had, so we made a whole list for Axiom that we were going to ask in kind of an interview setting. We assumed we might eventually be able to get, whether it be at an RV show or on a call or something like that. So one is the underbelly heated. So we don't go like winter camping, but you know, sometimes you're in places where it should not get cold but does, and sometimes you're in places where it should get cold and it does. And you know, I don't want to be forced to always follow the sun and never go to a mountaintop. And so we wanted to find out what the deal is with the underbelly and whether it's heated. So the answer is that they have 12-volt heat on the, they have heat pads on all the tanks, and they have 12-volt heat in the underbelly, basically to keep the water system from freezing. So you are going to be protected from that. That being said, if you're going to go into like sub-zero temperatures, I would definitely recommend putting one of those kind of anti-tip, ceramic heaters in the underbelly and just running it, maybe not all the time, but maybe run it at like 50 degrees or something just to keep it from getting too cold in there. And then as far as during the summer, with the amount of cooling that the rig is going to have and the thickness of your baggage doors, I don't think you're going to really have to worry about it. Like our rig right now technically has a pipe in from the furnace, but it does not have cooling in it. And we've been here all summer in Las Vegas temperatures with 100 and just about every day it's 100 around here, and sometimes up to 112, 115. And even with that, when I open up that side door for the understorage to grab something out, like a board game or whatever, it's always nice and cool in there. So those seals and those thick baggage doors on our DRV really do make a big difference. And then obviously the rig above it being cool really does help to keep it cool down below. All right, so the next question we had was, can we remove that couch, that one that's on the door side? So we're walking in here. Let me less talk and more show here. Let's we'll go back to these things in a minute. We're going to go inside here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see here. There's Matt talking about his liquefied. Okay. All right, so this couch on the right-hand side here, or it'd be the left-hand side when you walk in the door. So we're thinking what we're going to do is we're going to have them, when we order this unit, we're going to have them not give us this dinette and not give us this couch. So this will give us a huge space for us to do whatever we want with. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to build a desk into this space, pretty good sized desk, and a whole bunch of storage going along the whole wall. And so that will give us a place to put a whole bunch of stuff from, board games, Christie's soap making supplies, camera gear, all the stuff we currently are putting in our garage that we don't really want in the under storage because it's either delicate equipment or whatever, or we just want more quicker access to it. Can go into those storage spaces. And we also have a lot of books that are currently, we have a custom unit that we had built behind our television in our DRV. And so I have a whole bunches of Blu-rays and DVDs that are in there. Now, some of that stuff may go into this upper storage here, which would kind of make sense because I'm probably going to put my Blu-ray player in here. John did confirm that there is a Starlink prep in this box right here. So essentially it connects to a Starlink. So you'll put your Starlink router right in there, and then you can run the cord kind of out through where the water hose is underneath on the side, and then you can run your satellite out to outside somewhere. You can set it up on the ground, or you can run it up to the roof with one of those new ones that's kind of made for like yachts that are in transit or RVs that are in transit. And basically it's a flat mount that goes on your roof. It's kind of a higher end unit. It's almost $2,000 from Starlink, so it's very expensive. We already have a regular Starlink dish, so I don't know that I'm going to buy that right now, but it's something we might buy in the future. And so my thought was that we would essentially, put that on the roof along with the solar package that we're looking at. So yes, you can remove the couch, and they are designing a desk right now. Kind of like he called it the IKEA desk or something like Brinkley's, what do they call it? The Dinesk, which is kind of like a do-it-all sort of table dinette thing that's going to go in the space where the dinette is now. So they're working on that right now. It's not fully designed. Something happened where basically he was telling me that they got these new windows. Let's see if I can back this up a little bit so you can see the space a little better. Yeah, there. Okay. Hit play. Perfect. So essentially when they got the new windows that go in here, it pushed this down, and so it kind of messed up their design. So now I kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit. So the Dinesk or whatever they're going to call it is going to go in here in this space, and then they're going to have either this same couch. I don't know if the couch will still fit the same or if they're going to need a slightly shorter couch that goes here, like a tour, like a love seat or whatever. But essentially that's the plan, is that there's going to be something like that's going to be on the production model that'll be coming out soon. So I asked the question because nowhere in this video did they actually walk into the kitchen to allow you to actually see inside this kitchen. I mean, the most you can see is right there where he talks about the sink, but you can't see what's behind here. He did confirm that there is a dishwasher in the lower here, which is really great. I was glad to hear that. There's also, I asked about a utensil drawer, and he said, yes, there is a drawer here. I couldn't see that either. And then I don't know if we can see it. Let me see if I can go back here. So this is that's the bedroom. Okay, we'll go forward a little bit. I'm going to pause it. Okay, so right here, this space right here currently is where, on the outside, is where the wine fridge is. And then this space right here, there is a drawer on the top and another drawer there, and then more drawers there. And underneath that middle bigger drawer is where the garbage can is. So he told me just now that they have moved this. So now this drawer and the respective garbage can has moved to this side, so it's on the kind of on the left as you're looking at it from here, and in the middle is where the wine fridge is, and on the right is where the drawers are. So they've kind of moved it around. I'm sure it probably has to do with electricity or some other kind of benefit, or maybe just getting the garbage can more centrally located. I specifically asked him if we could have our wine fridge flipped so that it was facing to the inside, and he confirmed that that would be possible. I don't know what that's going to cost, if there's some sort of custom charge or what, but regardless, that's what I want. And the reason why I want that is because when this back door is up, you will not have access to the wine fridge. So if you wanted to say, because this fridge is not, I mean, it's a good size fridge, it's the same size we have now, but it'd be really nice for us if we had extra fridge storage for drinks, to not have a bunch of drinks in here. We could just keep all our drinks in the wine fridge, and we could just have those accessible from inside the rig even when the back door is closed. Because there's definitely times when you're not going to put this patio out, either because it's pouring down rain, thunderstorms, or whatever, or because you're in a place where it's not very secure and you just don't want that out. Or in a lot of cases, we've been to places where we could not put it out because it was too close to a wall, too close to a tree, or whatever, because the rig isn't there, the site isn't long enough. So having the flexibility to be able to still have full access to everything that this thing has to offer with that door closed. And then the other thing, I gave him an idea, which of course wasn't an idea that he hasn't already thought of, but my thought was, what if we took, instead of this big patio door like they have on a toy hauler, and we did, let's see here, we did the Jack and Jill bedroom thing. But what if we use, I'll just stop there. But you know that's got the side patio right there. You can see it right there. What if you use the same thing as the side patio on the back, with the idea of having, when it's up, you got a window across the top, which is really great. And so you still have a window out the back of your rig, so it creates more light, more transparency. And then when it's down, you still have the little 3-slide window. You still have access to all the stuff. You have the counter outside maybe, and but you have this nice private little deck rather than kind of a big party deck. To me, that's a lot more appealing. I could definitely see sitting out there, you know, with a drink in the morning and just enjoying the view, and not having it take up as much space in the back, having it be as much of a security concern, because crawling over that versus going through a gate would be better. And then in addition to that, you know, it just being a little bit more kind of concise in terms of the total rig. I asked him about do you recommend covering the mini split? Let me see if we go to, we don't. Okay, so this has got to be the under storage stuff that we talk about on the outside. So here he's talking about the outside steps and the mini split rail and all that. So I asked him the question of, is it required to cover or somehow protect that mini split when you're traveling? Because of course you're going to be kicking a ton of water and filth and mud off the road, especially if it's been wet, or recently, like maybe you're driving through some slush, and you know, everybody knows how messy that is. Can you, or do they recommend covering the mini split? And what he told me is that they're building in, these ones do not show it, but they're building in kind of a metal wall around 3 sides, so that both ends and the back have a wall on them that's made of metal to protect the mini split from getting debris or refuse on it. But I told him that I was thinking what I might do is literally go in there, and yeah, you can actually see it on one side there, which is good, on the side kind of closest to the tire. But he told me, or I told him, that I was probably going to have a bag made to go over the mini split, and because I'm going to go under there anyway. Every time I am going to drive, I check the shackles, make sure everything looks good on the suspension. I check my lug nuts to make sure they're tight, you know, to the correct amount. I make sure my tire pressures are good before I drive. It's just one of the things I do. And it'd be easy enough for me to toss a bag over the top of the mini split to make sure it doesn't get a bunch of filth in it while we're driving down the road. this is probably the number one thing that people ask. So there's that trash can, and you can get to that from both the inside and the out. It's like a both-way slider, which is kind of cool. I like that. And then, again, that's that wine fridge, but it's going to be flipped to the middle. The trash can's going to go to the right, and we want to have ours flipped around so we have access to the inside. Let's see. So the number one thing that people have been asking on my previous video, and people have been commenting about everywhere online, is the ride height. So how high off the ground are these things? Because, you know, I mean, when you look at it, let me go back here to the beginning. Of course, I'm probably going to create another ad for myself, right? So if you look at this right here, and you look at this space, you think, holy crap, I'm going to be running this thing. I'm going to just drive over a tiny little normal speed bump, and I'm going to rip the whole bottom off my rig. Not so, okay? First of all, this spot that it's parked in is grass. It's sloped. But he told me that frame there, that frame rail that it's sitting on, that the flashing, that white flashing that you're seeing, or that skirting, he called it, is only 1 inch below that. Now, they have just made the decision, mostly because of all the comments, but also because they just think it's a better decision, to move that skirting up 1 inch so that it is perfectly matched to that frame. So essentially, if you were to, I don't know, do something whack job and run over something that's tall somehow, I know it happens, like you back into a spot and there's like a curb is going weird at a weird angle or something, or you have to go in a weird angle and you somehow, you know, hit the bottom of your rig. Well, in this case, if you hit that bottom, you're going to hit a frame rail, which is like 12 inches tall, made out of solid steel. It is not going to gum up your sidewall. It's not going to mess up your skirting and make your whole rig look like crap. I mean, it probably wouldn't be optimal, so you definitely shouldn't drive for a long ways. But at least it's not going to wreck your rig. So he told me that the distance from the frame rail to the ground is 11.5 inches. So that's got to be more clearance than I have from my jacks to the ground now. And it's definitely more clearance than I have from the bottom of my tire carrier to the ground. So those things are still there. There's a tire carrier in the back, just like every rig has. And of course, on this rig, they have the generator that's behind those rear wheels. I don't know if, there you go, right there. So there's the rear wheels. And the generator is in the center underneath those rear wheels. There's a really good video online if you want to learn more about how these are built. That is a factory tour. I just watched that the other day. In fact, I could maybe pull that up, but I'll let you guys do that. Anyway, that kind of goes through all the build and how everything's done and kind of the choices that they made and why they made them. So I asked him about the bed size and the master. It seemed to have a really small base, and there was a lot of overhang on. Let me see if I can get there. Probably going to have another ad, which will be fun. Let's go up to half bath, which we love. Let's see. Just hit play here. There's storage over the half bath, which is awesome, and it's accessible from inside the bedroom as well. Something that he did tell me, in this video, they talk about the 50-inch TV in the bedroom. This TV is changing to a 42-inch TV because they're changing kind of the configuration of this wall a little bit. They're actually going to be shortening this wall a little bit. Doing a few things in that bathroom, like some wainscoting to make it look a little bit nicer. And then this mini split is actually going to move to the other wall. So they're going to be moving to, I don't know if you can see it from here or if they're going to walk up there. Let's see. I'll just leave it. We'll see if they turn around. Okay, let's talk about this really quick. So we asked about this bed frame here, this small bed frame. They have changed the wood that supports the bed to a plywood instead of this lightweight stuff that they have on here. So that's something that they changed, kind of based on what industry leaders and people asked the question about. This thing is pretty narrow, and he told me that the design of this tilt-a-bed, it's designed to be able to hold 2 adults and pull them up. So you can put any weight of mattress on here and you're going to be totally golden. And it is a king size bed, so you can put any king size, he confirmed. We have a 72 by 80 kind of RV king size bed. We actually have a custom made latex bed that's for Christy and I custom made. And he said, yeah, it'll be no problem. You can put it on there and it'll be ready to roll. And then the nice thing is we'll be able to have access to the tilt-a-bed, so Christy can sit in bed and watch TV, which will be super cool. I'm going to just hit play again here. Love all the storage above the bed. I love that each side has its own kind of side table with charging and all that. And then also they each have a drawer, which is really cool. I think you can maybe see it from this side. Hit play here. There's the storage again. Yeah, so you can see it kind of down there briefly. It's very short-lived, but it's there. I love all the windows in the bedroom. So yeah, this TV is going to stay here, but it'll be smaller, and the mini split will be moving to the drawer on the other side. So it'll be moving to the other side wall. So it will not be, the mini split will not be here. It'll actually be on this wall here. So it'll be right above this this dresser. It'll be right here. And I'm not sure why that was, other than that they're going to be moving this wall over slightly. They're going to make it not as tight, I guess, for some reason. And the other thing they're going to do, which was mentioned by numerous people at their open house, was that obviously you need some sort of blinds to cover this huge double sliding door in the bedroom, because adults do bedroom things in the bedroom, and we don't really need to broadcast those things to our neighbors through a huge sliding glass door. So that's a thing. Another thing we asked about was, we noticed that this closet has these 2 big opening doors, and here I'll just hit play so you can see this. So he has, see how big this is? It's huge, right? And you can't even reach the back, so they put in these cool hangers. And so there's 2 hangers, and then these ones have shelves, which is great. So the one thing that we asked him about was, well, what about a place for dresses? Where can I put dresses? Well, obviously I don't wear dresses, but Christy does. So one of these is going to be double height, and the other one is going to be like this. So you'll have basically 2 doors that are on top of each other with the glass like this, and then they'll have one that's taller, or I don't know if they're going to do just 2 tall doors. Maybe they're going to just do 2 tall doors because it'd be simpler from a production standpoint. But one of them is going to have a shelf and have a rack on the top and a rack on the bottom, and the other one is going to just have a rack on the top and I guess some bins in the bottom for putting whatever you want in them. And then that way you can have a place to hang dresses, or maybe put a stick vac. If you wanted to put a stick vac in there, it'd be a good place for a stick vac, or I don't know, rifles or whatever tickles your fancy in that long one. That's what's going to be happening there, which is pretty cool. A nice change. Let's see, underbed storage. Yes, there is underbed storage. He said that it's about 14 to 15 inches deep. Oh, this is kind of cool. Let me talk about this in a second too. So this shower is a kind of pre-built full fiberglass shower here that has these kind of neat things in the corner. It's got, as you can see, a head sprayer, and there is a wand sprayer. I don't know if we'll be able to see it if I let it pan all the way around. Maybe not. But he told me today that they are working with a company that made that shower that you can just buy at like Home Depot or whatever. And one of the things with this shower, let me see if I can back it up and show this. I don't know if it'll show or not, but give me just a second here. As he's talking about the double sinks. Each side has... yeah, okay, you can kind of see it. So right here, see how there's this big space here? It's probably a good 2 inches. That's the same on both sides. And he said that the company that makes this shower kit can make a kit that basically doesn't push it off the wall by 2.5 inches on both sides. So it makes the shower bigger. It's basically flush, and it makes for a bigger shower. And since we have a small space, we want as big a shower as possible. So they are making a new shower that is, where did I put that note? Oh, it's down below. So the new shower is going to be 40 by 36. So it's going to be a bit bigger, which is great. So I think it'll go over here just a touch, but more importantly, it's going to be more flush to the wall. So you're going to get a little bit more space without actually taking up more space, which is really cool. More space and bigger shower is good. And as you can see, I mean, it's super tall. I mean, he gets in here and Matt does the whole seal of approval for the shower and, you know, bing, and all that stuff that he does, which is funny. I love the huge window on the front. You've got these privacy curtains, so you can, you know, keep prying eyes out. I was telling my wife, I'm like, I'm going to be totally showering in here with that wide open. I'll be able to see the mountains in Boulder City. And Christy was like, there's no way I'm ever going to do that. Because she has this feeling that somebody can see through. I'm like, well, as long as it's not dark with the lights on, nobody will be able to see in. There's so much glare outside. But she's like, yeah, it's still not going to happen. So let's see what else. He's talking about the height in there. The height in that bathroom space, even though it's up high, is so high compared to most other upper decks. It's crazy. If you're 5'4" or 5'8", and your husband's, you know, 5'9", 5'10", it's probably really not an issue because you can fit in almost every RV. But I'm 6'4", and there's a lot of RVs that I just flat don't fit in. So that is a big problem for me, you know. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, here's John in the shower. He's over 6 foot. I think he said he's 6'3", so he fits in there like tons of room to spare. And he's a big guy, as you can see. So he, you know, having that extra 4 inches of shower space will be good because I believe this is the 36 by 36 that we're seeing here, which is still pretty roomy. But I love the fact that it opens on both sides. This is one of my favorite parts. Look at this. It's got its own bathroom. So you don't have to stink up, you know, blow out the whole bedroom, the whole bathroom. If something happens, you know, we know about things that happen in the bathroom. I don't have to go over that. Let's see. So I asked about right above their heads. This is an 8-foot Girard awning. And they have decided to change that. So right now they're behind this, where this deck where they're standing is an 18-foot Girard awning. And they have decided that instead of running this 8-foot that's kind of in front of that other one and then the 18 behind, that they're going to run a second 18-foot Girard awning. So you're going to basically have a Girard awning that goes all the way down this whole side, and then another one that goes all the way down the other side. So it's going to be pretty ridiculous. You're going to have a huge amount of awning space. Let me go back here. So essentially, let me go back a little bit more. Right there. Okay. So you can see right here, this is an 18-foot awning. You're going to have a second 18-foot awning that goes basically to right in here somewhere. So it's going to be pretty insane. You can get a lot of covered patio space, which will be really cool. I asked about the solar because I wanted to know what came on it, and there was a little bit of differing reports that I saw online. So it has one 200-watt panel on the roof now. It supports 400 watts, but it does not have the second panel up there. It comes with a lead-acid battery. This side right here is actually the battery box. On the other side, or maybe it's the other side, but one of the sides is a battery box. The other side is the propane box. I'm guessing this is the battery side and that's the propane side because this doesn't have vents, but I don't know. Maybe it's vice versa, or maybe there's vents somewhere else. I don't know. The point is they have a single 40-pound propane and then a single storage space for batteries. And currently, there is a single lead-acid battery in there for your 12-volt power. There are trays for up to 4 normal-sized batteries, or probably 2 of the large lithiums, like the big ones, you like the Battleborns or whatever, the big ones that you usually see. So there's room kind of built in for battery space. I think that I'm going to have, there's kind of this pillar in here, which I'm sure is a structural thing because this is such a long upper deck. And my thought is I might have whoever puts our solar panels and stuff on the roof build like some sort of a solar built-in space here to hold numerous batteries kind of in a wall sort of configuration or in a tray, maybe a slide out. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But I'm probably not going to necessarily use this storage space for the batteries and probably focus on another kind of better, more comprehensive built-in. But he did say that there is a 30 amp MPPT charge controller, the lead acid battery, and a 200 watt solar panel that can upgrade to 400. So you can very quickly and easily upgrade to 400 watts of solar, and with the existing stuff, you'll be able to run the fridge while you're driving down the road and stuff. Let's see. The tires. They're a brand called Lion's Head, which I have not looked up yet. But essentially, he said it's a China tire, but he has done quite a bit of research, and they're a pretty exceptional tire from a rating standpoint. They're H-rated, 20, I think he said 20-something thousand pound. They're very, in terms of their specs, they're very, very good tire. They have a 6-year warranty. And then also I asked about TPMS, and there is TPMS on this unit. He said it's in the pass-through, and so the tires that come with the rig will have TPMS on them. Now we have a TPMS system that goes on the stems of our tires, and I don't think I'm just going to give that away because it's like $1,000. So I'm probably just going to take them off, and we'll see how well the one works that comes on the rig, and if my existing one works better, then I'll use it, and if it doesn't, then I'll use that. So that is kind of what I'm going to do. And then let's talk about, there was one other thing here. Oh, he confirmed that the weight of the dry weight of the i3800 is 18,800 pounds, and or so. You know, obviously your build is going to vary. It is going to be getting a third axle. It currently doesn't have a third axle in this video, but they don't have anything in there, as you know. And there will be a lot of stuff in there for a eventual person. And so that third axle is going to give you plenty of capacity for whatever you want to put into this rig, within reason, of course. I think the GVWR, and I didn't confirm this with him, I think it's going to be between 23 and 24,000 pounds would be my guess, based on kind of the build of this rig, and because they're not playing around here. But yeah, that is the kind of stuff I got for now. I love the way they do the wiring. They don't play around with the wiring in this rig. I also asked the question. I texted him a little while ago, and he's probably still on the road because when we talked to him, he was on the road, and he has not answered yet. But I meant to ask about a water management system, kind of like what we have on our DRV. So on our DRV, there's like this whole tree with kind of all of the water outputs on it. And so if you have a problem with, you know, a sink starts dripping, or like in my case, I had the line that goes to my fridge was broken. There was a little section that had no insulation on it, and it broke. And so it was spraying on the outside of my rig. So I just went to my water management system and just turned it off, and then went the next day and got a fitting and put it on, and it was a done deal. It was a super, super easy repair because I did that. If I had not had that water management system that I have, I would have had to turn the entire system off and I guess deal with it the next day with no water, no flushing toilets or anything. It'd be a huge hassle. So I believe that in some video that I saw, they talked about the fact that they're going to have 2 different water management systems on these rigs, one in the front, one in the back, or something like that. I don't know if, because there is 2 different like sections to this thing, maybe they're going to have it in kind of underneath the slide there. Like we'll have one over here that'll service kind of the middle of this rig, or maybe it's on the pass-through. Hi, Matt. And then the other one will be in the back on the other side, kind of like underneath this skirting or something. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is going to be. To me, it would make sense to have it centrally located where the water is, because this thing does have a pretty nice in the pass-through. I think they talk about it on this video. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's at the back. Let's see. I think it's maybe right. Yeah, there we go. This is actually really cool. Check this out. So there is an outlet right here, and this is a tray to catch any drips and basically route those outside the RV. Right here is actually a storage box. That's a kind of a neat feature that they built into their rigs. So you could put tools in there, or to me, this is a great place to put like your kind of liquid, like you could put hoses in there, or you could put I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting sewer hoses in there. I think a better place for those is on the bottom. But you could, if you had it in some sort of a waterproof case or smell-proof case. The better place, I think, would be to put like your lubricants, or like your cleaners, or those kinds of things that you use to lube the slides, and seals and those kinds of things. It'd be a great place for that. You know, I haven't asked him about seals. I should ask him about that. That's another thing I have a question about, is the seals. If they use any sort of different technology for the slide seals than anybody else does, because they're doing so many different things than anybody else. I wonder if that's something they're doing differently. Let's see if we can see. It doesn't look any different than like the Brinkley slim rack system. This is a slim rack slide here. The main slide is obviously going to be a rack and pinion. They do come with the camera system, which is really... Oh, this is another thing. I had to tell you this. This is freaking rad. So if you've watched any of the other videos, you know that they've talked about how they build these upper decks to be able to handle higher or jacked up trucks. So this is actually higher. This part right here is higher than a typical, RV. Well, that kind of caused me some concern, because I thought, oh, well, if it's 2 or 3 inches higher and I hook up my truck, then it's going to be leaning down, because I don't have a jacked up truck. I have a normal size. It's designed to be the same as like every other rig out there, so you could haul flat, level your larger RVs, right? So that's the height that I designed on my fifth wheel hitch on my semi. Well, so the thought was, if they made this thing so that it would work with a jacked up truck, then this Pinbox spot is actually higher than my truck would be, which would mean that the thing would be leaning forward. And since we've all talked about how low this is, we don't want it to be leaning forward, because that could be very dangerous for my trailer. Well, he said that this Pinbox here is designed to be able to adjust up to, I think he said, what did he say in my, let me see if my text, my phone said it. But I think he said it could be adjusted up to 5 inches or something. So that way, if you have a jacked up truck, you can bring it up. Or if you have, I don't know, maybe you got your truck slammed on the ground. I don't know. You could adjust it down. Anyway, pretty cool though. Pretty cool. I did ask about warranty. So he said it's kind of industry standard warranty. 1 year bumper to bumper, 3 year structural, 3 year for, 3 year structural, 2 years for like all the electronics, and then lifetime roof. So same kind of roof that like the Brinkley has, the new lifetime roof. And of course their roof is going to be even better than pretty much anybody else in the industry, because there's nothing on it. There's no holes, skylights. There's not a million penetrations. And they've already said that their roof, in addition to, with the few penetrations they have made, that they hit it with that black stuff, that Eternabond, and then on top of that, they also hit it with the regular self-leveling roof stuff that every other RV has. So it's like double sealed. So it should be bomber. Anyway, that being said, with the conversation that Christy and I had today with John, and with having poured over this video, I think I've watched it like 5 or 6 times. So Matt, you've got a lot of views, but probably 19,000 views. At least 5 of those are me, probably. We are going to order one of these. Once we actually get it, which it sounds like from what John said that the actual time for delivery is going to be somewhere around mid to late November, or maybe early to mid-December. Somewhere between mid-November and mid-December. There's your RV toilet treatment ad from Matt. Just going to let this play a little bit so you guys can see it while I'm talking. Anyway, somewhere between mid-November and mid-December, this thing will be available for us. And when we do pick it up, our plan is to, of course, I'll probably do some videos and answer any questions that people have right away. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already, so you can get updates as we go through this process. And also, please like the video. And if you have a friend that you'd like to share it with, please share it. And then in addition to, we're going to probably do like a full video kind of review about it once we've had it for a while. But the other thing that we would like to do pretty quickly after we get it, maybe before we're like fully moved in, so it might be a little messy, would be to actually have a live stream. And we'll give you advance notice of that. But that way, if you guys are on the live stream, and we'll like post in advance of that we're going to be having a live stream, so you can make yourself available to it. But during the live stream, we will be able to walk around with our camera and like show stuff to you and answer questions and all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be super handy for anybody that's thinking about buying one of these. We kind of decided here that we wanted to order the rig in advance of the Tampa RV show, because I have this sneaking suspicion with how many cool things that they're doing with these rigs that they are going to get utterly slammed. And the lead time will quickly change from a couple months to 6 months. Like, I don't know, maybe not. But they're still in kind of early days. He said that they are sending the second or third rig off to Cincinnati to have it be kind of trialed. They basically take it to this place and they run kind of the equivalent of a 200,000 mile testing on it. Basically, they run it around this track 1,000,000 times. They drive it over all this horrible rough road that's supposed to simulate like thousands of miles of rough road. They take it into this thing and shake it, and they expose it to huge amounts of UV to see what kind of stuff happens to the exterior, the interior, etc. The glues and all the, extreme heats, extreme colds, all the stuff. They basically just do a full bevy of testing on it. And those tests are helping to identify possible concerns, possible problems with the build, with their design, and that kind of things. So see how there's no like trim in here on the bottom? They're going to put some trim down there. Prime pooping position. Bing. All right. Well, enough fooling, enough tomfoolery. Let me go back to the spot here. So, thank you for watching and taking the time out of your schedule to watch this video. Please ask any questions you have, or ridicule me for being stupid enough to buy a rig that has literally not even come out or hit the road yet. Whatever you want to do. I'm open to whatever questions or thoughts you have. Oh, I meant to mention this earlier on. I asked him about the water pipes, why they chose not to go with the brass fittings that, say, Brinkley and other vendors are now doing on their higher end rigs. I love that little side table there. That's so cool. So he said that the reasoning to not go with brass was, first of all, they're super expensive. And second of all, is it's not about the fittings as much as it's about using the right components throughout the system. And so, you know, like our current rig, for instance, our DRV full house, does not have brass fittings everywhere. And knock on wood, thus far, we have not had a leak other than the one hose which broke because it was out exposed to 115 degrees for like all summer. And that happens, I guess. My RV tech that helped fix me up told me that he fixes those all the time for that exact reason. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, so not having brass fittings and in having plastic fittings is less important than having the right plastic fittings to go with PEX tubes that are used throughout the coach and the right types of clamps to keep everything tied together. So he said that that's what they're doing because that's what they use inside homes, and it works inside people's homes, so it will work inside your RV, and that's what they're doing for now. Anyway, I hope this was informative. Thank you for your time, and please like and subscribe and share the video and ask questions or ridicule me at your will. So I'll see you guys later.